everybody.
Hello, hello.
Welcome back. So, I mean, I don't even know where to begin. These are heavy, unprecedented, incredibly devastating times. And we have somebody on today that I think is the perfect guest to something we all need right now. We mentioned earlier when we did our naturopathic healing episode that we were looking for an expert on Ayurveda or Reiki healing, something of the sort, to speak with. And we manifested that because we have Mathew Serra with us today. He is an Ayurveda Health Counselor, Reiki Master, meditation coach, Ayurveda yoga specialist, and fitness coach. Welcome, James.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Great to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We're so lucky to have you on.
My pleasure.
And, we have a lot of questions for you. I know our listeners, I know everybody can benefit from this, and I would really like to kind of hand over the reins to you for the beginning, because I know you're going to lead us in a explanation and lead us in a mantra chant.
Yes. Yeah. Mantra, I was drawn to mantra. I began meditation in just, my mind always goes, most of us, like everybody kind of says, I could never sit for meditation. Meditation is small increments in the beginning is the best way to do it. Mm-hmm. So when I first started meditating, I would sit down and try to clear my mind with some breath work, some yoga breath. It worked, but it didn't really work enough. So I would sit there and I'd kind of be racing around, and I would be more uncomfortable, more so than relaxed.
Yeah.
And I was, so I was introduced to mantra about 7 or 8 years ago. And it just grabbed me. So different strokes for different folks, whatever works for you. You always have to try different things. But mantra, the using a mala bead, which I have on now, I don't know, we can see, but we can't see different things.
Right.
So it's a prayer bead. It's 108 beads. So 54 for, the Catholic, the rosary, all religion always has so many different intricate connections, right? So 54, 108. So mantra is all about the vibrations of the words. So pronunciation for mantra is very, very important. And mantra is done in Sanskrit. And Sanskrit can be kind of tricky. Once you get to know it, it makes a little bit more sense. But looking at the words, they look a little weird.
Yeah.
So I began doing some breath work and then doing some mantra. Now I use my hands on the mala beads, and then I'm also vocally saying the words, so the audible, and it really gave me this sense of my mind wasn't wandering as much. I had something to do. So I was focusing on the digital, the sensory and the audible. And it really just got me to a place when I finished my 108 mantra, or sometimes I'll do more. It got me into this really quiet place. And I realized that mantra meditation, they call it japa. Japa in Sanskrit is resuscitation of mantra. So japa mantra. And japa mantra was just like my thing, right? It worked for me. So I hope it works for you. I'm going to recite the Asatoma prayer. And it's an ancient Indian prayer in the Vedic scripts. It's really a beautiful mantra. And there's 3 lines. So the first line is in English is, from the unreal, take me to the real. The second line is, from the darkness, take me to the light. And third line is, from death, take me to immortality. So I feel like right now, with the fear of the pandemic, but also just the times, like the unreal to the real, the darkness into the light, like everything, all the climate that's going on right now, we could all benefit from that.
Agreed.
So I really just wanted to, start the session off and literally give some good vibrations out there, and then, and we can get into it. So I'm just going to kind of give a little bit of chime just to kind of get the vibrations going. So why don't we all just close our eyes, if that feels comfortable, or soft gaze down. We'll just take a moment and be. Take a full breath in. And you can just open the mouth and let it go with a sigh. It feels good to let it go. And then one more breath in. Long breath out. Let's go one more. Full breath in, all the way in. We're going to hold that, and that's an internal kumbhaka, the restriction. And then perch your lips, sip in a little bit more air. Open the mouth, long sigh. I'm going to begin with a single Om. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya. Asatoma Sadgamaya. Tamasoma Joitir Gamaya. Mrityurmamritam Gamaya. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya. Tamasoma Joitir Gamaya. Mrityurmam Ritam Gamaya. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya. Tamasoma Joitir Gamaya. Mrityurmam Ritam Gamaya. Just gently open the eyes, nice soft gaze, and just still feeling the vibrations of the mantra floating around.
Really calmed my spirit.
It really did.
Yeah, mantra's so beautiful.
Stay there.
Yeah, mantra's really beautiful. God gave me a foghorn too, so.
I was gonna. Yes. Absolutely.
Perfect voice for that.
You gotta use your gifts, right?
Of course. And I want to say for people listening, because the release date is different, but it is June 1st that we're recording this because we had this previously scheduled, and we're going to bump this episode and speak with the activists we have to interview first, and then James's will come out. But just for reference for where we are mentally right now, because it is June 1st. I know before we got on this call, Alyssa and I we were on the phone and we were like, I'm just so scattered. I want to calm down. And James, thank you, because
thank you so much, James.
It's a great place to start from.
Good.
So I kind of want to just jump in. Like I said, Alyssa and I are not very educated on this at all. And so it's going to be a lot of amateur questions, but I know I would like your brief description for people listening of what Ayurveda is and also Reiki.
Okay, so let's start with Ayurveda. So Ayurveda, Ayur is life, and Veda is science. So it's the life science, the science of life. So with yoga is more of the etherical, right? The spiritual and the soul. Ayurveda is more of the body. Not that it's not spiritual, because we are both spiritual and physical beings. But Ayurveda really deals with, to me, the core of Ayurveda is dealing with proper digestion. Now, digestion is physical, but it's also emotional. Without good physical digestion and without mental and emotional digestion, we're stuck. And being stuck energetically or physically is not healthy for anyone. Right. So it's Ayurveda is 5,000 years old. It's this beautiful science of finding daily routines of detox, of finding out what doshas you are. So a dosha is your constitution. So we're all different. right? We all look different. We all act different. We all have different skin types, and oily and dry, and, hair. Everybody's different, but there's still some commonalities. So if I keep it really simple, we're talking about air, fire, and water. There's 2 others, but we're not going to get into it for an hour session. So we really break it down in, you can be air, you can be water, or you can be fire. Usually we have all 3 of us, all 3 of those constitutions in us, but one's going to be more dominant. And then usually the second one will be a little bit closer, and then the third, not so much. There is tridosha, that somebody is all 3, but it's not very common. So we, as an Ayurveda health counselor, I'm going to meet with someone and really look at what their physical attributes are. So whether they have smaller bones, bigger bones, drier skin, oilier skin, there's a lot of different factors that go into it. Wow, once we establish about where you are, you want to find out where you've gone away from that, right? Your current state of imbalance. So we have our balance when we're born, then you have your current state of imbalance. And when I find out the current state of imbalance, we want to get you back to where you're supposed to be, that little three pie, right? So if you're Vata, Kapha, and Pitta, those are the 3 doshas. And we want to have the even, whatever your little pie looks like, that's where your sweet spot is. So there's the physical, but then there's also the personality. And the personalities are more of tendencies, because we can change our tendencies, but they're still going to kind of be the same. Yeah. So when we look at it, as a whole, you want to assess where the person is starting, but then most importantly, where their current state of imbalance is. So we can do several different things with that. There's we call it the 10 sets of opposites, and they're the qualities in everything, and it's hot, cold, oily, dry, so on and so forth. Yeah, there's so much to get into, obviously, but I'm
so intrigued. I mean, honestly, go on any tangents.
In workshops, I set it up, so I'll give the elements of earth, of the earth, air and stuff like that, and then we go down into the doshas, and then we go into the gunas. So once we establish that there's 10 sets of opposites, out of the opposites, or out of the qualities, each dosha or constitution has their certain qualities. What we want to do is add the opposite quality to take, if we're elevated in one, we want to take it down with the opposite, if that makes sense, right? Yeah. Like attracts like. So when we're out in one direction, when we're out of balance, we want things that make us out of balance. Yeah. So fire wants hot, wants fiery stuff. You want to cool it down. Yeah. I see. Yeah. And then,
so it kind of just feeds itself. When you're out of balance, it's really hard to get back in, because you start desiring more of that thing that you're out of balance.
Like attracts like. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. We go further out of balance that way. Yeah. So we try to bring in the opposite. So that's a treatment, an opposite theory. Also, there's daily routine, which routine in Ayurveda is just so important. Yeah. I think in life it's so important. Keeps you really grounded. Yeah. So we call it dinacharya, and it's just daily detox routines. And I'm going to give a couple of lists, but I'm going to give my like what you have to do. Yeah. To that in a little bit. We won't start there. So Ayurveda is this beautiful container. When I started, I've been teaching fitness and yoga and nutrition and doing Reiki for quite a while. Mm-hmm. When I found Reiki in yoga teacher training, it gave me this beautiful container. So I can train someone in the gym, and I can push them, and then I can tell them what to eat, but it has to be well-rounded. So where's the spiritual side? Where's the downtime? Where's the, the other qualities that we need to be a whole person? And Ayurveda gave me that container. That's why I fell in love with Ayurveda, because it's spiritual, it's physical, it's, nutrition, which just love nutrition. It amazes me when what we eat, forms our tissues, literally. All of our tissues, like whatever you eat. And then Ayurveda says every 5 days it goes to a different tissue, all the way down 35. There's 7 tissues, plasma, blood, bone, muscle, going all the way down, and it feeds it. Each tissue takes a little bit. So nutrition is just amazing, but it's also emotional. When you're eating, crappy food, you feel crappy. When you're eating good food, it makes you digest in a different way, emotionally and physically.
And whatever, like you said, whatever you're in the pattern of eating, you crave more. So that puts you more out of imbalance or more in balance.
Our biggest drug, sugar, a beautiful plant made down into a white powder,
right?
A drug, right? All the other ones, poppy and the cocoa plant, they start off good, but they drug, and sugar's the most prominent one in our society.
Yeah.
So Ayurveda really just gave me this beautiful way to deal with people, to work with people in well-rounded, and rather than just giving them a workout or giving them something to eat, now I can work with meditation. So, Ayurveda will be food, it'll be a yoga routine, and, someone who's air doesn't want a really flowy yoga routine. Someone who's fire, you don't want them to go to hot yoga all the time, but that's what they want. Someone who's a kapha, who's water, you don't want them doing gentle yoga all the time. So it's like, that's you want to give them the opposite. So even with food wise, right? You're not going to eat spicy foods if you have a lot of fire and you're out of balance. That's where Ayurveda really drew me in, because it gave me this beautiful container to work with people that made sense.
It's so all encompassing. It's like, because that's one of the problems. I have a couple good friends who are personal trainers, and it's like, the problem is people come wanting to work, they'll take diet advice from you and they'll work out, but they're missing so many pieces that you can only do so much from that angle.
Right. Once I found my well-roundedness, I can go back to just, beating somebody up in the gym and telling them to eat, chicken and rice and this, that, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it really gave me that container. Yeah.
And you don't have to like go into like all the history, but do you know like a brief kind of like origin of Ayurveda for anyone that's interested in that? Because I'm interested.
Okay, so 5,000 years ago they started putting it in text. It's older.
Okay.
They passed it down. Vaishyas with doctors, they passed it down to sages, but it was all spoken. So 5,000 years ago is when it's supposed to have come out. The whole story is, Brahman met these healers up on a mountain and gave them Ayurveda. India was like, back then, we were still hunter and gatherers, and they were, agrarians. They had, they had systems for sewage, and they were like way ahead of time. But then they supposedly went up to the mountain, and the sages and all the healers got this information from Brahman and came back with Ayurveda, and Ayurveda is the oldest known medical system. Like TCM, Chinese medicine, kind of stems off of it, and it all has its thing, but it all stems off of Ayurveda.
Wow, I didn't know.
Yeah,
I was curious if like ancient Chinese medicine, if they simultaneously evolved or if one came first. I didn't know.
It stems off of it. It's a lot of a lot of new. I would say the core of Ayurveda is, if your digestion isn't right, nothing is right.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
No, so sorry to cut you off. Like I am having that issue myself. Like I'm like I'm realizing like, wow, my digestive system is not great and I can't figure it out.
Yeah. I've had this. I mean, I did a blood test for like food, like an allergy. They test like 96 different foods and found out that I'm highly allergic to almonds apparently. And even just taking that out, I noticed huge differences, and I'm seeing everywhere, not specifically not in Ayurveda teachings, but it's like becoming more mass appeal to talk about people are taking probiotics and your gut is everything, and your gut affects everything from like literally everything, like your skin, your mind, everything. And so I, like you mentioned earlier, that there's a certain cleanses that you do or that you recommend, which is that a sensible thing to go into now?
I could touch it on it very quickly.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Hippocrates says, let thy food be thy medicine, medicine be thy food. Like you can heal yourself with food. Not to say Western medicine, when it's needed for trauma and certain things, like don't take me to a Reiki master if I'm having a heart attack.
Right.
Take me to the damn hospital and get me some medicine. Like, I'm not all about, Western medicine has its place.
Yeah.
First off, it's preventative. Yeah. And these are the things that we can do for preventative medicine. And that's why Ayurveda is such a beautiful container that I love to work with, because it can work side by side with Western medicine, but, mentally it can bring you to a place where you're able to accept the medicine, or you're able to heal in a different way because you're also working there. So, not to say that Western medicine doesn't work, because it does.
Right. Well, in the same, I mean, the underlying theme of all of this is balance. So that's the same, like balance, what Western medicine has to offer with, Eastern and natural healing. Like it all has its place, I believe. And they need to work in conjunction with one another for the strongest result, I feel.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like working with an Ayurveda practitioner or health counselor with your doctor is beautiful, because a lot of illnesses do need Western medicine to get over that hump. But if you're working with a natural or a natural path or something like that, then they definitely go hand in hand for sure. So what I normally do with clients is a khichdi cleanse. So khichdi is an Indian dish, and it is basmati rice, lentils, and an assortment of Indian spices. So what you would do is you would pre-cleanse. It's about a 21-day cleanse. I don't believe in like not eating or juicing.
Right.
Unless, even with this cleanse, like unless you're going to be in bed and have someone taking care of you, and which isn't the ideal, when not many of us can do that for 3 weeks. You need food. So a mono diet. So the khichdi is a mono diet, and it's very easy to digest. So it resets your digestion. So it's a 7-day pre-cleanse. So what you would do is you would start it's a lot of journaling. It's a lot of taking out what you're not supposed to be doing, right? So if you're eating sugars or this or that, coffee, alcohol, whatever it is, you're going to every day cut a little bit out, and then you're going to bring in a daily detox, which I'm going to get into. It's called dinacharya. I'm going to give that. That's going to be like everybody needs to do this.
Yeah.
Give you like my 3, like do this every day, and it's going to help.
Please.
So every day you take something out of your diet or out of your lifestyle, and you add in a daily detox, a dinacharya. And then eventually you get to that's the pre-cleanse, you get the 7 days, and then you do khichdi. And you can do like farina in the morning for breakfast, or you can do khichdi 3 meals.
Okay.
And you just literally eat khichdi, and it resets your digestion because it's so easy to digest.
Can it
What's that?
Oh, sorry. Like heal your gut lining too? Is that
That's exactly what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to get the biome right, because you're not putting these taxing foods.
Right.
Your gut really heals itself because our body heals itself if you do the right thing.
Yeah.
And then the third week after the second, it's a matter of bringing in very bland food. So you start off with, grains, so you're not going to go in and eat, obviously you're not going to eat a cheeseburger.
Right.
Start off with one thing. Next day, maybe you bring in some dairy if you eat dairy. Then you bring in, wheat or gluten or whatever. This way you have a chance to see what affects you. So now you're starting from this flat line, and it's easy to find out what affects you if you're starting off from a flat line and you're adding things in slowly.
Right.
Sorry, I pulled that.
No worries.
I'm Italian,
Same.
So many hand gestures.
Oh, I get
They
it.
fly for sure. So Khichdi cleanse. I like to do that because it brings in the daily routine. You should do forever.
Yeah. So what's your?
Should we go there?
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. You have any questions about the cleanse?
I kind of, I'm curious to hear what the things that you recommend for everybody to do. And then, I'm sure questions will develop.
Yeah. So, Dinacharya, first of all, waking up early is really healthy. It's really good.
Yeah.
If we had 3 hours, I would get into why, but I'm not going to. It's just, it has all to do with air, fire, in water, the time of the day. There's the Ayurvedic clock. So you want to wake up in around 6, which is like just the end of the air time going into water. If you wake up too far into water's heavy. You don't want to wake up in the middle of a heavy time because you're going to feel heavy.
Does it depend on what your makeup is, though? Like for some people, is it better? Okay. Nope.
The clock is very basic. So we're going to go to, this is a 24-hour clock, but it goes in 2 different sections. So I'll just do 12-hour, and they work for both, night and day. From 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock is air, and that's vata. Then from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock is water, which is kapha. And then from 10 to 2 is fire, right? So in the morning, from 2 o'clock in the morning till 6 is like, that's the time you dream, you're creative. So you want to wake up in that time, 5:30-ish. You wake up in that really light time where you're in your spirit, in your light, and you're creative. And then you go into kapha, which is water. And that's a little bit heavier, but it's grounding and rooting. So you want to wake up early into that time. And that's when you do your whole routine because you're grounded and rooted. It's like waking up and looking at your phone. It takes you out of your ground. Yeah. So you wake up in your home and you're in this peaceful, area because this is your time. This is your place, and you're in this really grounded time. And then you open up your email and you find something that sets you off, or you're in FaceTime, Facebook, or it just really takes you out of your center. So you wake up, ideally you say a gratitude prayer, and it could be like, I'm grateful for waking up. I'm grateful for whatever. Just a great way to wake up. Wake up. So these are the musts. You wake up, and then whatever your routine is, some people use the bathroom. We call that, eliminating or whatever. So you're eliminating waste, whatever you do, 1 or 2, right? First thing you want to do is scrape your tongue. So what happens is we have undigested food that comes up and it lays on our tongue. And undigested food is toxins. We call it ama, A-M-A. Ama is toxins. We want to get rid of as much ama every day as we can because we create toxins. Most toxins come from food, undigested food. So you wake up, I get you could actually use a spoon if you don't have one. Like tomorrow morning, if you're like, I got to do it because James said so.
I got a tongue scraper a while ago, and I was like, I was reading about it, and I was like, this sounds really important. And then once I started using it, I couldn't stop. It's addicting.
When you
almost.
See the ama, the crap that comes off of your tongue,
that you think you're getting off when you brush your tongue. Yeah, exactly.
You actually brush it into your.
Oh. Yeah, that's
it's
bad.
amazing. I think the tongue scraper probably is the thing that most people do always. Once you see it coming off your tongue, you're like, that's disgusting. I can't not do it. I've been doing it for almost a decade. And let me tell you, first thing I do, don't drink water, don't do anything So scrape your tongue, get rid of the ama. Warm water with lemon, which can vary. We go with lemon because it's like neutral, but it could vary if you're fire, if you're a little bit more this or that. You might change it to a little ginger or lime. Lime can be cooling if it's really hot and you happen to have a lot of fire. Yeah. So warm water with lemon, and now what that does is it washes down the ama in the digestive tract. Undigested food, right? So undigested food needs to be cleared out, and it washes it down. Number 3 is what I always do. So these are like my top 3. It's called Garshana, and it's basically dry skin, just getting rid of dead skin.
Like dry brushing?
It's not brushing. You could. It is basically, yes. So there's these gloves. They're special. You can get them on Amazon. You can get tongue scrapers on Amazon. You can get the Garshana gloves on Amazon. They're raw silk. So they're a little bit rough, but not really. So they're not going to hurt your skin.
Yeah.
So obviously dead skin you got to get rid of it, right? That's one thing. The most important part of Garshana is you are actually going a little bit harder with the glove and you're pulling down. So what you're doing is you're taking the lymph nodes. The lymphatic system doesn't have a way to drain itself. Yeah. So it has these toxins, but it doesn't have a way to get rid of it. Yeah. That's what you're doing. They say always go towards your heart. So, and I always think about where we eliminate, and when we sweat or we eliminate. So you want to get it to the elimination points. So when you're coming up with the glove, you take it around on the elbow, and you're taking it into the armpit where you sweat, right? And then you're taking the belly and you're going in a circular motion, and that's making it push down. So when you eliminate that way, it goes out of our 1 or 2, and then we come from the legs up, and then we also sweat in the groin. So it's a great way, and you're also bringing up to the elimination. So my top.
Do you do your face? Do you do your face?
No, you don't do your face. You can do shoulders. You do shoulders. Hands up. Belly. You do your back, and you go to the side, and you can do on your bum and sideways, like in a circular motion on your bum, and the legs come up.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a great way to get rid of that ama in the lymphatic system, because the lymph nodes, we hold so much toxins in there also. Yeah.
Is there a reason we don't do the face?
What's that?
Is there a reason you don't do the face?
They say not the heart and not the face. I think it's just a very sensitive area. Yeah. And you don't do your heart. You don't do the chest. You do the belly.
Okay.
So those are my top 3. Do those every day, especially if you're going to work out in the morning, which is another part of dinacharya. So next you would do a workout, some type of yoga, you do some breath work, you do some meditation, you would try to actually eliminate and go number 2, and then eat some food, shower, and abhyanga. Oiling, depending on oiling the skin is really important also, especially if you're like air can be really dry. Air quality, like if that's your constitution, can be really dry. But when you're doing abhyanga, the oiling, your constitution, air, fire, water, has a lot to do with the oil you're going to use. Water, you're not going to use a really heavy oil because you're already water. If you're drier, air, you're going to use something that's a little bit heavier.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're fire, you don't want to use a warming oil. You want to use a cooling oil.
And is it easy for people to kind of find out what they are? Because even as you're talking, I'm trying to figure out like, oh God, am I more of a...
If you can Google any of this stuff, absolutely.
Okay. Gotcha.
Is it Joyful Belly is a good one. The Ayurvedic Institute, all my books, my study, I went to the Himalayan Institute in Pennsylvania, and I've done like 1,000 hours of study for Ayurveda. And Dr. Vasant Lad, amazing. The Ayurveda Institute in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
And we'll be talking about that later. Yeah.
Yes. He's, never met him, but, I've read his books inside and out. A lot of his books, he's the guru from India that came to America and like lit the Ayurveda world up here. So, he's definitely like the OG. Mm-hmm. He's the OG for sure. Yeah.
Is there a lot of, so if we just, vague Google search to find out what we are without going to a specialist is there a lot of misinformation to sift through, or is it pretty straightforward?
Thank you for asking that. That's a great, so they have these Prakriti tests. Prakriti is your innate constitution. So when you're born, this is what you are. And then, so Prakriti, Vikriti is your current state of imbalance.
Oh.
So they usually do Prakriti tests. I feel they're a beautiful way to introduce what the different constitutions in the qualities are, but I feel like they're not accurate because you could be out of balance.
Yeah.
You could be like, well, yeah, this is where I'm at, but it doesn't mean that that's what you are born with.
Right, your natural state.
And also, right. And then also is, you're talking about physical attributes. So now this is your personal opinion of yourself. If you said it and then you asked me, well, what do you think of my eyes? And I might have a completely, so it's a great way to learn, like, so Vata, Pitta, Kapha, these are the qualities of someone who's Vata, Pitta, Kapha. So it's a great lesson. But I don't hold a lot of, it doesn't hold a lot of weight for me. It's a great way to introduce people and see what it's like. And sometimes it's right on, but I've definitely seen a lot that's not, because there's so much error.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, a lot of people are probably measuring themselves based on how they are now, and that's not necessarily your natural state.
You've been out of balance for 15 years, so that's your norm.
Right.
You almost want to go back to a kid.
Yeah.
Well, where were you as a kid? But who remembers? Like,
right.
You go what you remember. The last 3 months, we're probably out of balance. If we're looking into Ayurveda, we're already out of balance. So our imbalance is our norm. So yeah. They're really cool, but I don't put a lot of weight into them. They're educational for sure.
So when you have a first time client, like if I were to start working with you, because you have to assess all of these things.
Sure.
I guess what's the format of like your first meeting with the client? You kind of went over it, I guess, but I'm just curious, like how you decide what each. Yeah.
That's valid. Absolutely. I have questionnaire. So I have a bunch of questions that I ask that aren't so far off of the tests. But I'm an investigator. So I'm exploring what they're saying, but then I'm digging into the answers more. So when we answer our own little test, it's just like, yes, no, this, that. I'm going to ask a lot of questions. And what I found is most of the time, it's not the way that it's said as I explore more. I'm going to go back to poop, because poop is the most important thing that we do. And it's the biggest indicator on our health and our digestion. So, in the questionnaire, are you regular? how many times do you evacuate? I'll keep it a little PG, right?
I don't care.
We talk about
Yeah,
poop all the
okay.
time, right? So how often do you
Right.
poop, or what does it
Mhm.
look like, or blah 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 blah. And it's like, oh yeah, once a day. And then maybe 10 minutes later, we're having a conversation, and then someone was like, well, not every day, but usually every 2 to 3 days. And I'm like, well, whoa,
Yeah, that
every day,
changes.
or is it every? That's huge. So I'm an investigator,
Mm.
and it's a lot about emotions and about where they're at the time.
How in touch they are with themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. What they like, what makes them happy, because honestly, what makes you happy is a part of your prescription. I don't want you to tell you to go do this because it's going to be good for you. If you don't like it, you're not going to do it. It's not going to give you joy. So it's
Right.
like,
Yeah, it's not going to
Italian
work.
hands again. Sorry.
No,
Yeah,
that's
it's not going to work again. Sorry for you guys listening. I keep dropping my head because I move my hands a lot, and I have
Just
I have a
gesticulating.
headphone in. Yeah. So yeah, it's about it's about listening, really understanding the person, and then even the answers, because our personality and our traits are part of the Prakriti, are part of the Constitution. So it all is relevant, and that's why I FaceTime or Zoom all of my clients if it's not in person, because I really need to have a good sense of who they are and where they are.
Yeah.
And then there's a tongue diagnosis. Like, I can tell by your tongue around what it looks like a big fat tongue could be water. I just use the water because it's coffee. Right?
Yeah.
Fire is a redder tongue, and it's kind of pointy.
Interesting.
And
I just want to look at my tongue.
and like a really pink tongue. Yeah, but and then there's also like lines in your tongue in different qualities. Scallop on the sides. You can tell like what is being affected or what's out of balance.
Wow.
It tells us a lot. And what I found is, honestly, 2 to 3 weeks of changing things can really change your tongue, which is crazy. Really, it's pretty wild.
That's
and is it
something
because
I wanted
of the
to...
food that you eat that the tongue is so you can tell so much about the tongue because of the food that we eat that kind of coats it, or no?
No, it's more about the body function. So you can tell your kidneys, all these different areas. Like the center could either be your spine or your heart. When we have bad backs, you get cracks in your tongue down the line. So the lines, the scalloping on the side could be is malnutrition. And I don't mean malnutrition like, it's like you're not.
Yeah. You don't have enough nutrients.
Food. Yeah. Right. It's not that you're not eating good food, because there's people who can eat amazing food, but if it's not right for you and your digestion isn't right, you're not absorbing the nutrients properly. And that's why nutrition and digestion especially, is so big, because it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter what you're eating. If you're not absorbing the food correctly, then it's just going out, and then you have more waste because you're not digesting the food. Yeah.
See, that's the thing where I think it's so important for people to, because we see so much stuff. Oh, take vitamin B, take this, you don't actually. And while there are things that I know a lot of people are deficient in, none of it matters if everybody is so different, that I feel like for myself and people listening, really the importance of working with an individual coach in these areas, or your doctor, getting a blood test specifically about your body, because I mean, like you're saying, you could be taking all the quote unquote right vitamins, and if you're not absorbing it, if there's an issue in your gut lining, I kind of wanted to ask you, this is kind of broad, but like, for example, I mean, I haven't done any work like this ever. So for new clients to start with you, Or just from your own experience, when you started, how long until you started noticing like big shifts in your life? I mean, it could be in any area. That's a really vague question, but I'm just curious. It's such a big lifestyle. I mean, it's a way of living. And so the adjustments I would assume would show up pretty quickly in certain areas.
Yes. Honestly, just having a consultation and me putting on someone on a cleanse, but I also like the cleanse is the cleanse. Like I'm monitoring. I don't like to work with a lot of clients. I like to work with a few clients very closely. I form amazing bonds with my clients. I have to want to work with someone that I know that they're going to be open to a lot, and they need to be able to work with me, and I want them to be comfortable because it's an intimate thing. I mean, we're talking about, completely changing someone's lifestyle. I need to know that they're going to be open to change spiritually, most of all, because you can change your eating, but if you're not sitting down eating with gratitude, with clear mind, if you're choking down your food on the on the expressway because you're busy, you're not absorbing the food. I don't care what you're thinking, it's not going to assimilate into your body the right way.
Or like zoning out watching Netflix while you're eating your dinner
on your phone, you're like piling in your food and you're on your phone. The nutritional value is going to go down. What I do, I always say a gratitude prayer for my food. And it's not a religious thing. It's, I'm grateful to Mother Earth for providing the food and for the hands that have prepared it, grateful for the food and giving me nutrition and my body to receive it, grateful for my lessons and my blessings. Pretty much what I say every time I eat, because it's literally giving me everything that I need. It's giving me spiritually and physically everything that I need to build what I need. So like, if you sit to eat and not to nourish your body, I don't feel like you're doing it justice. It's really about someone who's going to stop and understand that these things are going to change very quickly, are going to change everything. They're going to change your mental status, your emotional status, your physical status. It can be so quick, the changes. It's amazing. When I said the tongue, I've seen tongues change in like 2 weeks. Like literally the scalloping goes away.
Wow. Whoa.
Really. I mean, our food is the medicine. Medicine is the food, right? I mean, that's it.
When you have, of course you go into the nutrition with your clients, but you also, do you work out mantras with them? And on the spiritual side, how do you approach that with your clients?
Well, I've been doing mantra for a long time. I've personally been through so many different mantras that have resonated with me in different times of my life. So I like to look at their journey, what they want to accomplish, and also where they are, and give them a mantra to suit that, to suit that for sure.
How often do you check in with your patients? Like, how often do you, is it a regular kind of scheduled, or
some
is it
every
just...
day? Some every other day, some, it's individual. Some people don't really want to be checked in on, and they feel like I'm like a helicopter mom. I don't want to be that,
Right.
I just care. I have a big heart, and I really just care. So I want to make sure that everybody's good. Also want them to feel comfortable to do it themselves. And if they need me, they can get a hold of me. So like I said, I don't like to work with a lot of clients, so I can give them the care that I want to give them and that they deserve. So individually, to give them time to do their own thing and figure it out. Yes. But listen, being held accountable is probably one of the best things in support. It feels supportive, and just being held accountable makes us kind of toe the line a bit, I feel.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, God. Well, I was just going to say, like, a session for me would be like, I've done, workouts, uh, consultation about nutrition, about anything, um, ending on a Reiki session, ending with
Mm-hmm.
Reiki, kind of clearing the energy, starting with a Reiki session. If someone comes in, kind of like up here and they need
Yeah.
that, you know, I I feel I'm an intuitive healer. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of judge what needs to be done on the fly
Yeah.
into a session and say, this is what we're going to do. And then be like, nope, that's not where you're at. You're coming in hot, or you're coming
Yeah.
low. Bring you up. Let's bring you down. Breath work, a little
Mm-hmm.
guided meditation. I love to do guided meditations.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. Guided meditations, body scans, just sitting and closing your eyes and scanning through your body can
Mm-hmm.
just show you so much where the blockages are and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
And how is your?
Yeah.
So sorry to interrupt you. I was gonna say, like, how is your teachings and your counseling? How has that changed? I'm curious, like, since quarantine, like, how are people's kind of overall state of being changed for you as a Reiki master and counselor?
Yeah. So there's a lot of fear.
Yeah.
A lot of
Mm-hmm.
fear. And fear affects every part of our immune system, of our emotional body, of our physical body.
Yeah.
So I find it's really important to let people know that it's valid to have fear of the unknown, but fear is a man-made emotion. Like, on the other side of spirituality, there's only love and acceptance. And
Yeah.
love and acceptance is the only thing that's real. The other thing is just, it's the ego. And the fear is ego, anger is ego, jealousy is ego. So if we live in our ego and we live in the fear and the hatred, that's just all the physical. It's being attached to the physical. And I need to get us as a whole into knowing that there's love and acceptance. Fear is just something that is unknown. We're usually fearful of the unknown, and it's about calming the adrenals in the subtle body to be in that place to just accept where we are. Love and acceptance is what we need to have always.
So subtle body, is that like your energy field around your physical body, right?
Yeah, there's the physical body and the subtle body. So we have all our chakras, right? We have our chakras, and then there's nadis. There's 72,000 nadis and these energy channels all the way through, and they intertwine all the way through the chakras and stuff like that. So that's a lot. That's a lot. And you get blockages here or there, and that's why Reiki to me is so beautiful. I do a lot of like Reiki or chakra clearings, because we get stuck emotionally, but we feel it physically.
Yeah.
And most of the time, if you can clear it emotionally, physically, it breaks up.
Yeah, that's what I feel like, we were just talking about before with everything going on. Again, we were recording this June 1st, so everything is very hot. But like, I feel like, I was in bed all day yesterday. I was just like, I'm nauseous. Like, I'm like, my body's sore, and I'm just like, what is happening? Like, it's just so connected, and it's so frustrating because it's so connected, and I have to be aware of that.
Yeah,
you're terrible.
Feel it. How could you not, right?
How can you not?
Yeah.
And do you recommend to your clients and to our listeners, like, certain products, certain Ayurveda products that are good to have and to eat? And
So I like banyan botanicals, and just because they're readily on Amazon, they're all organic. They're ethically sourced. That's who I use. And going through Ayurveda, we had a lot of classes with some of the people there. And then they have pills that are, you can have all these different herbs, ashwagandha and shiitake and all this stuff, but you don't know what to do with it. And you have all these herbs and where do you put it? So I feel like, having a pill is nice. What I have found is I feel like my studies with herbs, with Dr. Rosie Mann, she's an amazing Ayurveda Vaidya. So working with her, I feel like a lot of the dosage that they give, which ironically is kind of low. So you need more, which is ironic because, they want to sell product. Everybody wants to sell product, right? You're in business to sell. You want to help first, but you got to make money. But I found with a lot of the dosages, they're a little bit low. So I usually recommend the Stresses for Banyan Botanical is a really great product for stress. That's a great one. But Banyan Botanicals, I would just go on and read up. They have a lot of information on their products. So, whatever is ailing you, if you want to look in, ashwagandha is great. Shiitake is great. There's a few other herbs. Chaiwan prash is really great. It's a really great herb. It's like a jelly. It's a great supplement every day.
Interesting.
This might be a silly question, so sorry, Molly, but
No.
What makes it Ayurveda? Like, what makes a product Ayurveda? Is it just like no chemicals whatsoever? Like, it's all natural?
So it started in India, right? They're Indian herbs.
Yeah.
So what I try to do is I try to look at the qualities of the herb. We have 4 more hours, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
I mean, I got who knows, a month?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, right, exactly. We got a few months, right? So we're good. We can get into it. So it's Indian herbs, but yeah, they're all organic. They're just herbs. There's nothing else. They're literally crushed up herbs that are pressed into a tablet.
So like if you look at an ingredient list and you see like a bunch of shit, it's pretty much not it.
Right.
Yeah.
Get a good source. Source.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I just know banyan. I've been using them, so they work well. But I'm sure there's some great reputable companies. Do your research. Research everything always. Isn't that like the research everything. Right. Research charities when you're giving to a charity. Like research everything.
Of course.
Yeah.
Know what you're doing and what you're taking and where you're giving your time or your money or your energy or whatever. If you're looking for a practitioner of Reiki or whatever, research if FaceTime or whatever, or Facebook. I always say FaceTime, Facebook or, Instagram. Everybody's got a website or something. Like research, really do your work. I even say that with barbers, like do your, there's enough out there now to know. Do your research.
If somebody, so you're located in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Just for listeners to know, but you said you do remote healing and remote sessions.
I do mainly remote now.
Okay. Yeah. And I was curious if people are interested, is there a industry standard for like a website where people can go to look for Reiki or Ayurveda healers or counselors? Is there like an official spot that you would send people or just kind of, do your own search? Not that I know of. Okay.
Yeah. Not that I know of. Yeah. I do your research, ask friends, kind of put it out there. I've gotten quite a few clients from like Facebook recommendations on my page. If somebody will ask, hey, I'm looking for this and, ask around. you know.
And how limiting is it for you to do remote ones when you're not in person? Is it quite a bit harder for you to assess, or is it pretty, I don't know, is it easier for you?
I feel like assessments for Ayurveda are fine on FaceTime or Zoom, just because if you spend the time and you're kind of intuitive, you feel people's energy. Reiki can be a little different. You know, you can do long distance healing, but you know, Reiki healing, I like to do more in-person sessions, just because the energy in the room, right? But if I'm assessing someone, like I said, Ayurveda is a lot about physical.
Yeah.
So it's like it's the physical part where yoga is more etherical, spiritual. So we're talking about hard facts.
Yeah.
This, that, this. You know, I'm looking at you. You're going to show me your wrist. Is your wrist big? You know, big bones. I can ask you how your skin is. It's not so much about like really emotion.
Right.
It is, and a lot of the prescription is going to be spiritual and, you know, meditation and breath work. But it's Ayurveda is cool because it's really about the physical. So it's a lot easier to do. I can look at your tongue. I can look at your skin. I can ask you about your skin, about your hair. And then as I'm talking to you, I can kind of assess how your energy is feeling talking to me. Are you anxious? Are you feeling a little bit depressed?
That's it's just like an all-encompassing. I think it's the most beautiful thing. It's just
amazing.
All-encompassing, because how can we all know you can't get everything out of one thing. And so if we think we can solve all of our issues through meditation or all of our issues through pills or all of it, you know, you have to, that's
find
what
balance.
I love about it.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say for people listening to get in touch with you. I mean, obviously, your Instagram, so people you check your DMs regularly?
I do.
Okay. And on Instagram, it is James_Mathew, MATHEW _Ayurveda, AYURVEDA. So like, I really want people to
reach out.
know that they can reach out to you. Yeah.
And we'll have that information on our Instagram too. We'll repeat it.
Great. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Just follow, man. I give some good tips and, you know, I offer free fitness classes and free Zoom yoga classes. And I always I'll put the Zoom ID tomorrow morning. You know, well, it'll be later. But and who knows by the time it airs, I might not be doing it. Who knows? Uncertain times.
Right.
Yeah. You know, I just love to help people heal, be happy, and just live their best life. And it's really what it's about, is about being the best version of you. In Ayurveda, spirituality, mantra, meditation, yoga, fitness, it's all relative. Nutrition, all of it means that you are a well-rounded soul. And it's really about balance. just listen to what you need, you know. We all know. Just a matter of
but it's alarming how disconnected we get from that. Where I know this time when COVID started, everybody is forcing people to be a little more quiet and still. But I you know, I have a lot of practices that I stick to that I like to think I'm grounded within myself. But I'm always surprised. There's always something where if someone were to ask me like, how do you feel usually when you wake up, specifics about this or that, I'm like, do I stop and take note as much as I should? And that's what I think is really beautiful about it. It encourages you to really keep your finger on your own pulse, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what the dinacharya, the daily routine, is all about. It's about starting your day grounded. If you start your day with your feet firmly planted, whatever comes can't throw you off your stance. If you're starting your day, you know, waking up, grabbing a D&D, ripping down the highway, you know, because you're late for work, well, then anything hits you, you literally have your toe on Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not grounded, you're not rooted. Starting your day grounded and rooted, I don't care what comes at you. If you're firmly planted in your day, it's going to be, you're going to have less of a hit. I'm not going to say it's not going to knock you off your feet. It's going to take a lot more. And that's what I feel is in the morning, starting with a routine of being grounded and rooted. You're also daily detoxing. So you're taking away the toxins, but you're also giving love, like self-love every morning, and taking that time for yourself.
Gratitude.
Gratitude.
Yeah.
It's about, you know, being firmly planted on Mother Earth. So when things come, you know, you got a good stance, you know, boxing. I don't care if you're a boxer, you're in football, whatever. If you have the right stance and you're firm, whatever comes at you is not going to hit you. It's not going to be that big of an impact. And that's what I want to see people. I want to see people going back to slowing down a little bit in the morning and starting off super grounded, rooted, breath work, meditation, daily detox, and feeling good about your day, and then moving forward.
That's beautiful. And listen, James, so every guest that we interview, we always ask them their SOS moment. So an SOS moment is anything that made you kind of like reassess and recharge. And I'm very curious to see what yours is.
Yeah. So I was a little bit of a wild child. Yeah.
I see the sleeve tattoo there. Everyone else can't see it.
Tattoo.
Two sleeves.
Just a couple.
Yeah. You know, big red chopper I ride.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're my hero.
So about 12 years ago, I owned a barbershop, and I was doing both, like nonstop. So I would be at the bar all night. I would close. I may or may not have had a drink or two. And then I would wake up in the morning and I would go to work and then repeat. And I was in this cycle of just being out, being really drained. And in the lifestyle of owning a bar is not a good Ayurveda grounding. I wasn't starting with my feet rooted and grounded. So I decided to get out of it, and it happened kind of quickly with my partner. So I decided to get out of it, and I want to say it's been a while. I want to say 5 days later, I had a trip planned with my mom and my sister, who are like my dearest and sweetest. We were going to Italy for a wedding. So 5 days later, after I got out of the bar, I went to Italy for 10 days with my mom and my sister and had the most amazing time. And I was so not grounded and so not doing the right thing for me, my body, my mind. I was still working out. I don't know how. I still looked good. I still looked in shape, but that means nothing.
Yeah.
Your internals and your emotionals aren't there. And literally, I came back and I took a course to become a spin instructor. And everything changed. Everything changed. I started teaching spin. I started teaching boot camp. I had already been into healing before that through my mom, who's a beautiful, beautiful soul. And I got into yoga, and it literally was a snowball. So all I can say is that was my SOS. Like, I was a hot mess.
Yeah.
And, not that I'm not now at some point, but both my feet are on the ground. So that's
right. But you just did like a full re-examine of what you wanted to do.
I did. I did. Like, I went from owning a bar and being out drinking all night and whatever else came my way. Like waking up in the morning, I teach 6 a.m. classes. And I set my schedule up so I had to get up early on the nights that I normally would have gone out. And I really reset my whole life. And so what I've always said to people, and what I believe is true, is you need to go and make that one little step and get out of the way. because life comes and steamrolls what's coming, but you have to make the move. As soon as I did that, every time I go to get another certification, like everything opens up.
Yeah.
Like a huge just awakening opening opens up, and I have all these different avenues just because I said I'll do this or I do this. It's amazing. It's a beautiful thing. Manifestation. It's so real.
It's so real.
So real.
Where your intentions are, then your thoughts go, then your words go, and then your life goes.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time.
Like whatever you want to do, put it out there, open up a little door, and then everything opens up. And that's what happened for me. I'm grateful. 12, 13 years ago, Italy was like my literal cleansing. I dove into it and came back and just started a new life. And it's been nonstop, and it's been beautiful ever since. And I've had a lot of heartache and ups and downs in it, but I have my 2 feet firmly planted because I start the days off right. And I'm truly blessed. I have an amazing life and amazing people in it. And I'm blessed. And I'm blessed to be on here because I'm talking about what I love to talk about.
We're blessed.
This is
really, really, it's amazing.
I thank God for you that we don't, but I wish we had hours and I'm going to definitely try to get a session with you anyway, because I really am intrigued by it. And I have this like knowing in my body that I'm like, I need this, because there are certain areas I don't know. I don't have the answers for where I want to know where I'm imbalanced. I don't want to guess and try random things. And I'm all about that.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have, so we have a nonprofit charity that we always promote. And then I know that you were going to close us out again, right? With the mantra.
I am.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Should we shout that out first and then go into the mantra? What do you think? What do you think is better?
Yeah, that's a great way to end it.
Yeah.
So, so we want to shout out the Ayurvedic Institute, and it's a nonprofit organization that founded in 1984 in Santa Fe or Albuquerque.
Yeah, I think
Says New Mexico.
Be wrong.
Okay. Maybe both. That teaches the principles and practices of Ayurveda, the ancient science of life. They provide authentic education in a supportive environment that encourages the integration of Ayurveda by individuals into their daily living and by healthcare professionals into their clinical practices. It is the goal of the Ayurvedic Institute to be able to offer a complete program of Ayurvedic study. This program would be similar in content to that taught in the traditional Ayurvedic colleges in India. So to learn more and donate, please visit ayurveda.com. And before we go we want to, tell everybody we're going to link James's Instagram into our episode notes, our show notes, and our own posts. So please look out for that. And also follow us at the SOS Pod on Twitter, on Instagram. You can follow us on YouTube. You can watch us on YouTube now. Search for SOS with Molly and Alyssa. Subscribe. Rate us 5 stars, leave a little review, send us some love. It really helps. And I want to shoot it right back to you, James, because I am dying for another mantra.
Beautiful. So if you can see behind me,
yes,
Ganesha. Lord Ganesh, I want to, very, very near and dear, I have a beautiful tattoo of Ganesh on me because he's very close to.
So does my husband, yeah.
He literally has my back.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
It's my first mantra that I really dug into, and I'd like to finish on that. And it's I bow to Ganesh. It's a pretty straightforward. It's bringing of abundance, and we all need abundance now. We need abundance of love, abundance of security and feel safe. Abundance of acceptance, accepting where the world is at, but not stopping there. We can accept where we're at, but let's fight harder to be better and to have more awareness of what's going on. and we're all doing the best we can. We're all walking each other home. Whatever color our skin is, what Pride started today, so happy Pride. Whatever you are, who you are, you're beautiful. You're not alone. All together, we're all this beautiful universal energy. So I don't care if you live alone. If you feel alone, you're not. We all share everything, and we all are love. So again, let's close our eyes. Bringer of abundance and the beginning of new things. So we're starting off new in life. Overcoming obstacles is the biggest part of this mantra for me. So it's not about overcoming the obstacles. It's about finding ways around the obstacle. And that's the most important. So draw your hands together, and we're going to rub them for some energy. So put your hands together and just rub for some energy. Ganapataye Namaha. Om Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam 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 Ganapataye Namaha. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. And the light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.